June 11th, 2026. Over 80,000 fans pack Estadio Azteca, the ground shaking as the FIFA World Cup officially begins. Tonight, Mexico steps onto the pitch holding a unique record. No other nation has ever hosted a Men's World Cup 3 separate times. They will need every bit of that home advantage. Group A is unforgiving. With highly organized European squads waiting in the wings, dropping points on opening night could effectively end the host tournament before it really begins. But despite having the backing of an entire country, a very specific 16-year-old ghost is hanging over this match, making a victory far from guaranteed. The 2010 World Cup kicked off with these exact same two teams, South Africa and Mexico. That match ended in a tense, hard-fought 1-1 draw, a result that immediately put both squads in serious danger of group stage elimination. And that points to a strange statistical anomaly. Across their entire World Cup history, Mexico has never won an opening match. To survive the group stage this year, they have to figure out why they consistently stumble right out of the gate. The answer often comes down to the host nation curse. When a team plays at home on day one, the expectations of millions create a unique, paralyzing pressure. This chart displays the win, loss, and draw ratios of host nations in opening matches over time. Notice the high frequency of early draws and outright losses. The intense desire to avoid a humiliating opening defeat frequently forces home teams into stiff, rigid football. When we zoom in to isolate Mexico's specific track record, we see that zero-win statistic clearly. The psychological weight of the moment usually translates into nervous, unforced errors early in the game. Mexico enters the first half fighting against a legacy of performance anxiety that often proves more dangerous than the tactical threat of the team across the pitch. To counteract that mental hurdle, Mexico relies on a massive geographic weapon, the Estadio Azteca itself. This concrete fortress sits over 7,200 feet above sea level. At that extreme altitude, the air is thin and the available oxygen drops drastically. Looking at this split-screen comparison of oxygen absorption rates, you can see the biological toll. An acclimatized player maintains efficient muscle function, while a visiting player's muscles fatigue at an accelerated rate as they struggle to pull enough oxygen into their bloodstream. This vector model tracks a soccer ball's trajectory, showing how the physics change too. Because thinner air provides less resistance, passes and shots at Azteca travel noticeably faster and drop differently than they do at sea level. All of this turns the stadium into a physical multiplier. The environment acts as an invisible weight, relentlessly draining the visiting team as the match drags on. South Africa's head coach, Hugo Broos, is actively preparing for this exact altitude threat. To survive the thin air, he is structuring his team to play a deep defensive line. This allows them to conserve energy and safely absorb the desperate, high-energy attacks Mexico is bound to launch early on. This tactical map demonstrates the strategy in action. South Africa's low defensive block absorbs the initial pressure, and then they execute a rapid two-pass transition into the open space left behind. It is the perfect theoretical kryptonite for a team pushing too hard to break a curse. By utilizing a tactical system designed to punish the exact vulnerabilities created by Mexico's anxiety, South Africa is engineered to play the spoiler. We are left with three volatile variables colliding on opening night: Mexico's psychological pressure, the brutal altitude of Azteca, and South Africa's calculated counterattack. Knowing Mexico's historical struggles with early unforced errors, South Africa's counterattack is highly probable to succeed in the first half, potentially yielding a shock early goal. But our final prediction for this match is Mexico 2, South Africa 1, and the justification pivots entirely on the physiological realities of the second half. This line graph projects the stamina levels of both squads over the full 90 minutes. You can see South Africa's line dropping sharply below the functional threshold right around the 70th minute. The compounding exhaustion caused by the altitude will eventually break their defensive block, giving Mexico the openings they need to rally back. Advancing in 2026 requires Mexico to leverage their geography to break South Africa's resolve and finally bury their historical opening match demons.